Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. On behalf of all of us, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you and to our program, The Making of an Exhibition, Reclamation of the Muwekma Ohlone Tribe's History and Heritage. And before we get started, I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement this evening. As members of the Los Gatos community, we acknowledge that we are the guests on the ancestral and traditional land of the first people of this region, the present-day Muwekma Ohlone Tribe of the San Francisco Bay Area, historically federally recognized as the Verona Band of Alameda County. We support the restoration and sovereignty of this Chochenyo, Tamian, Ramaytush, Awaswa speaking Bureau of Indian Affairs documented Ohlone tribe, as well as all indigenous peoples. So this is our second panel discussion relating to our two current exhibitions created in partnership with the Muwekma Ohlone tribe and San Jose State University. A recording of our first panel discussion, in case you missed it, can be found on our website in our program's archive, and I will drop the link in the chat in a moment for you. And that program was called Politics of Erasure, Federal Reaffirmation of the Muwekma Ohlone Tribe. So we dreamed up this program as an opportunity to give a behind-the-scenes look at how this complex project came together. I think there's a bit of an echo. There we go. And this program will be emceed by myself. I'm Michelle. I'm the education curator at the museum, and my colleague Alexandra Schindler, who is our registrar and history programs manager. And we'd also love to hear your questions. There will be time for Q&A at the end, so drop your questions in the chat. And this exhibition came about through extensive collaboration from many individuals, but tonight we will have the pleasure of hearing from a few key contributors. So on NUMU's team, we have myself and Alexandra, Jamie D'Onofrio, our Development and Communications Coordinator, Cristiano Colantoni, our Director of Exhibitions and Collections, and Amy Davis, our Executive Director. We also have Alan Leventhal, tribal ethnohistorian and lecturer emeritus of anthropology at San Jose State University. We have artist and tribal photographer Kike Arnau, and of course, Monica V. Ariano, Vice Chairwoman of the Muwekma Ohlone Tribal Council of the San Francisco Bay Area. So we thank you so much for coming and joining us. And we will start off this evening by hearing from our Executive Director, Amy Davis. So, Amy, our first questions for you are, how are these exhibitions funded? And what costs should be taken into consideration when considering exhibitions such as these?
Thank you, Michelle, and good evening, everybody. First of all, I just really have to take a moment to thank our sponsors profusely, all of the folks that stepped up to support this project. You can see all their names here. And, you know, it really takes a village to do a project like this. And when we started our conversations about a year and a half ago, we went to these funders with this idea of creating an exhibition that involves many voices and that provides a platform for the federal recognition that the Muwekma Ohlone tribe continues to advocate for. And we were so fortunate to be able to raise funds to hire Kike Arnal, the tribal photographer, to take the photographs. We were able to raise a little bit of funds to reimburse the tribe themselves for their participation in this. And, you know, the hard costs of putting on an exhibit like this, everything from printing the photos to the vinyl on the walls, it all has a price tag. And I think one thing we learned through this is that there are hidden costs in this that maybe we didn't anticipate quite as much. I think the tribe in particular, spent so much more time on this, and we know, kind of looking to the future, that we want to, look at this as a template for what we might do next, and the investment of time, making sure that we can compensate the tribe appropriately for all of their expertise. So yeah, I'm happy to answer questions later, and thanks for the question.
Thank you, Amy.
So our next speaker is Cristiano Colantoni, our Director of Exhibitions and Collections. And Cristiano, how did these exhibitions fit into the larger vision for exhibitions at NUMU? And how was the process of creating these exhibitions either similar or different to our other exhibitions?
Thanks, Alexandra. Hello, everyone. New Museum Los Gatos has a long, I think at least 25-year history of working with the Muwekma Ohlone tribe, as well as San Jose State University, in creating exhibitions. In 1998, when the museum was at the Forbes Mill Annex, there was an exhibition called Making a Living and Ceremony, Ritual, and Symbol. Then in 2009 to 2010, they presented the Ohlone, Past and Present. And then when the museum moved to its current location, we presented with the tribe and SJSU 2 exhibitions, Back from Extinction and Cement Prairie, which was about the Indian relocation program when the Native Americans were relocated by the US government to the Bay Area. And NUMU's, our mission to tell locally connected and globally relevant stories. So, it just made so much sense. The current exhibitions are really a continuation of our partnership with the Muwekma Ohlone, and as well as SJSU. And, the locally connected part of it is, hopefully obvious. The Muwekma Ohlone have been living in this region for thousands of years. And then the globally relevant, unfortunately, these themes that we explore in these exhibitions, issues of colonization and cultural erasure, are universal. Yeah, and part of NUMU's exhibition vision is to offer equal and equitable representation. So when we conceived of this exhibition, it was critical for the museum staff to tell this story authentically. And that, meaning that every photograph that you see, every word of text that you read was reviewed and approved by the Muwekma Ohlone tribe, by Monica in particular. She worked long and hard with us to get all of this content up. And I think there was a question about how this exhibition was made. And there's not really a template for how a museum would make an exhibition. It's, different for each one. We work with many different people, artists, historians, educators, curators, who have their own schedule and availability. But it was, we couldn't have told this story without the tribe's support, as well as the more scholarly support from Alan and the rest of our San Jose State University partners.
Thank you. Thank you, Cristiano. and Alexandra. Well, next we'll hear from Alan, who is Alan Leventhal, who is the tribal ethnohistorian and lecturer emeritus of anthropology at San Jose State University. So Alan, welcome. Can you tell us more about your work with the tribe and how you support them on projects like these? How did this partnership begin, and why are partnerships like this so important?
Well, first, thank you for this enterprise in educating the general public. My background was I came to San Jose State University in 1978 from Nevada, working with the Washoe, Shoshone, and the Paiute tribes there as an archaeologist. I came to San Jose State in 1980. I met the previous chairwoman, Rosemary Cambra. 2 students brought her to my office, and I asked her, how can I help? And she said she was an Ohlone Indian. And I said, I'm new to California. I don't know anything about Ohlone Indians. And we went to the library, and went to the old card catalogs. It said Ohlone, see Costanoan. Went to Costanoan, said, see Ohlone. And we pulled out Alfred Krober's anthropological study from 1925 that said the Costanoan group is extinct for all practical purposes are concerned. And I said, well, you must be from some other tribe, because the father of California anthropology says you're extinct. And she put her hands on her hips and she said, I beg to differ with you and Alfred Krober. I am an Ohlone Indian. My mother's an Ohlone Indian. She was born on the Sunol Rancheria. So I asked her, what do you want me to do? And she said, I want you to help us research the mission records to try to pull back our lineages back to our Aboriginal villages. So the interplay, which I did, and I got my education from interviewing the tribal members, but the interplay between the concept of Krober's extinction sentence and their continuous existence and the documentation to demonstrate that continuous existence in the face of the politics of erasure. The first extinction or politics of erasure was when the Spanish invaded Alta California and the missionization. The second one was when the Americans invaded, and all the place names were obliterated from the language, and the population was decimated. And the Muwekmas went from around 20 to 30,000 people to around 62 people that we can identify left alive in the 1920s. So you could see from the slide, they appear on the federal Indian census from their rancherias in Niles and also in Pleasanton. Next. So Krober was invited down to interview them for their languages and their knowledge from Phoebe Apperson Hearst, who bought part of the tribe's rancheria. And you can see some of the people listed here: Jose Guzman, Angela Colos, Magdalena Armija, who was Thompson, who was living in Niles with other Indians. Next. In 1904, this man from San Jose went to the Senate to deliver a memorial about the dying landless Indians of California. He and a clerk found or rediscovered the 18 unratified treaties of California. Congress freaked out when the Senate removed the seal of secrecy, and they named him Special Indian Census, Special Indian Agent, and he was charged to do a census between 1905-06 for Northern California from Los Angeles to the Oregon border. Next. He included as a partial census the Muwekmas living in Pleasanton and in Niles, and they fell under the jurisdiction of the federal government, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and they were slated for land purchase. Next. They appear again on the 1910 Indian census at Indiantown in Pleasanton. Next. And they were photographed by anthropologists, George and Pellegrina Santos on Niles, Maria Trinidad Gonzalez Reyes and Paula were photographed at Alisal. Next, which was Pleasanton. By 1925, Kroeber was in the process of writing his comprehensive tome on the Indians of California. And it was published through the Bureau of American Ethnology at the Smithsonian Institution. And in that volume, next, he wrote that the Costanoan group is extinct for all practical purposes are concerned. Now, remember, once you're extinct, they're gone forever. However, next, other anthropologists and linguists interviewed the surviving elders and did field work amongst the Muwekma community with Jose Guzman, Angela Colos, also amongst the Ama Mutsun from San Juan Bautista and the Esalen people from the Carmel Mission area of southern Monterey. Next. In that, his interviews, he wrote in an interview that the Clareños, the Indians of Mission Santa Clara, were much intermarried with the Chorcheños. The Indians of Mission San Jose, the dialects were similar. And here is not the first time, but we see again Muwekma, meaning the people in their language. Next. And then while they were waiting for land purchase, this fellow, Lafayette A. Dorrington, was under investigation for dereliction of duty. He noted in a report in 1927, there was one band in Alameda County, commonly known as the Verona Band, located near the town of Verona. Well, he was never a town of Verona. He never visited them, and he removed 135 tribal bands. They were landless Indians from the list awaiting purchase for their lands. The very first one was the Verona Band of Alameda County. Next. By 1928, they started enrolling with the Bureau of Indian Affairs under the California Indian Jurisdiction Act. This is the only tribe, the Muwekmas, that deployed the ethnonym Ohlone. The other Costanoan tribes never heard of Ohlone until after Malcolm Margolin's book, The Ohlone Way, came out in 1978. Next. And here again, they belong to Mission San Jose. Next. And again, Mission San Jose, they were full bloods, they were half bloods, and 3/4 bloods. Next. This is Charlene Nijma's grandmother's and her siblings. Next. They enrolled in the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and in the lower center is Rosemary on the left and her mother, who was born on the Sonoma Rancheria in 1911. Next. And then the Arianos also enrolled with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Next. This was Monica's grandfather, who was born on the Rancheria, and his mother as well, Mercedes Marine. They were born on the Rancheria, Pleasanton. Next. After World War II, and almost all the men served in the Pacific and the European theaters, they joined the Bay Area California Indian Council. This is 1947. Next. And then Kroeber reversed himself during the claims hearings in the 50s. Next. He says the survivors are there. They may be even full bloods. Racially or biologically, the stock is not extinct. And he used as survival existence the Mission San Jose Refuge as for the Muwekmas. Next. And then in 1962, they started to save the Ohlone Indian Cemetery with 4,000 Indian burials there that were being sold off by the diocese for development. And they were joined by the American Indian Historical Society. And so they ended up protecting their cemetery. Next. This was a list of Ohlone contacts in 1965, including the Arianos. and the Sanchez's next. And then even in 1989, the politics of erasure continued when Frank Norick from the Phoebe Hearst Museum said that he'd be willing to bet the Muwekmas could not give you a semblance of a lineage account that was Aboriginal. So who would you believe, a PhD anthropologist or these women of color? Next. And then they submitted their documentation to the Bureau of Indian Affairs in 1998. They were told it would take around 24 years before the Bureau can look at them to reaffirm their status, but they were issued a formal determination of previous unambiguous federal recognition on May 24th, 1996, and they were never terminated by any act of Congress. Only Congress can terminate a tribe, and this was a court reaffirming that the tribe was under the jurisdiction as a federally recognized tribe. Next. And continuous existence of the tribe's memberships. Next. And publications that the tribe has done in reclaiming their ancestral heritage sites. This is a study that is done at downtown San Jose, adjacent to the Guadalupe River, and they named the site Tamian Rumaitak, which means place of the Tamian River site. Next. And then continuous existence, reclamation, and revitalization. So thank you. I think that's my last slide.
Okay, thank you so much for all of that information, Alan. Up next is Kike Arnal, the artist and tribal photographer whose amazing photos are in the exhibitions. Kike, can you tell us a little bit about your art practice and your involvement in this project?
You're muted.
Now, can you hear me? All right. I said, thanks, Alexandra, thanks NUMU, and thanks the Muwekma for inviting me for this presentation. I'm very pleased to be here. I was approached by San Jose State University when they started to plan this exhibition. In the past, I have worked with Roberto Gonzalez, who is a professor at San Jose State, an anthropology professor. And we did a documentary about the Zapotec people in the Sierra de Oaxaca in Mexico. And Roberto thought that I could be a good fit for this project. I come from South America, from Venezuela. I have myself indigenous blood. I'm pretty mixed. And my background doing documentary photography, I started to document Native people in the whole America. So if you can just show a little bit of those pictures, these are Yanomami people in the upper Orinoco River basin, very remote communities. You know, this is part of my early work that I did in the Amazon. You can pass the next photo. Yeah, these are Yanomami people migrating after conflicts between tribes, between different tribes. Traveling from one region to one community to another, these men. Next one. And this is a Yanomami child that was taken into a hospital in the city because he had a chronic case of malaria. And these are different groups. These are Wayu in the border between Venezuela and Colombia, collecting some Enea for making mats and transporting the Eneas. So basically what I wanted to show is that this is pretty much my background as a documentary photographer. And I was absolutely excited with the opportunity of documenting the life of the Muwekma and trying to contribute with this exhibition. So Alan proposed me, he sent me the proposal with the ideas that he had. We exchanged ideas. These are Nahuatl people in Mexico, in the Sierra de Oaxaca, in the Sierra of Puebla. And this is, you can slow down here. So my idea for the exhibition was to document the Muwekma in a way, basically telling the community, telling the public, the Muwekma, I'm going to use the word we are here, we are alive, we are integrating into society, we're not going anywhere, and we have been here for a long time. So what I wanted to do is, I wanted people, the public, to understand that the Muwekma are part of our modern society. So I talked to Monica, we figured out what individuals could represent the Muwekma community in a good way. Who could we photograph that represent what a Muwekma is these days? So these pictures, this is Taylor Smith. This is a young Muwekma. He lives in the Central Valley fishing with his father. His father is no Native American, but his mother is Muwekma. And then the next picture is Isabella Gomez. And for me, Isabella is in the process of, she's deciding to what university, what college she's gonna go. And she was invited for an event in Santa Clara University they were going to show the archive the Santa Clara library has. And so I thought it was a good idea to photograph her in Santa Clara in the library to, let's say, portray her as a future student of the university. And to me, the important thing is the Muwekma are totally integrated. We are part of this, and we are active in all fields of society, Can you pass to the next picture? This is Fran Ruano. He's an 80-something years old. He was a veteran in the Korean War. And this picture was taken as his home in Fremont, I believe. And, he has incredible stories. So how did I photograph them, these tribal members, and show something about their life? He loved his collectible cars. So I said, and he's very proud Vietnam vet, no Korea, I say Korea. He went to Vietnam. So I say, well, let's take a picture of you in your car, Can you pass to the next one, please? This young girl, Jalisa Torres. This picture didn't make it to the final exhibition, but she was part of the Muwekma Garden. This is the day they started the Muwekma Garden at Stanford University, and she was participating in the first planting of the Muwekma Garden. The next one is Charlene, who is the chairwoman. This picture, I don't think this one made it into the final exhibition, but Charlene has an NGO that does recycling of clothing and objects that are sent to communities in disadvantage, and I wanted to show with one portrait first that she's absolutely she's a business, an executive, a stunning looking person, in her job. So again, I want to talk high about the Muwekma. The next photo is Gabriel, and he's doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So all these activities, I thought it was great to show. I know that we have this idea of the Native Americans. We always want to photograph them with their beautiful regalia. I wanted to do something a little different, So that's what I went to their homes, and I photographed them doing their activities just to show something else. The next one is Joy Torres. I like this picture. It didn't make it into the final selection, but I wanted to show his tattoos, but I think were kind of important to him. The next one is Gloria Gomez and her family. And this is a home portrait of the family in the kitchen of their home, you know. And again, this is a pretty much a beautiful standard kitchen in a very American house, very modern house. So the idea of Muwekma, of a relegated community, is you don't see it here. You know, this is a family, professionals, young, ambitious people that are preparing for future careers. You know, these two girls. The next one is Gigi, belong to the same family, to Gloria's daughter, and she's an athlete. She does gymnastics, and I went to photograph her at the gymnastics studio. And the next picture is Monica Arellano, the vice chair of the Muwekma tribe, who is with us tonight. And again, the regalia is so impacting that this is a picture showing the pride, wearing the regalia, wearing the outfit, kind of for a celebration. It wasn't exactly a celebration at the moment, but that's the kind of portrait I wanted to produce. And these are the Nimmet brothers. And again, it's important. I mean, these are young men playing basketball, part again of the society, part of the community, going to college, you know, no very different, and doing their contribution. Jacqueline is a chef, Jacqueline Bruno. She's also very active in the community, and the next picture are the sisters Joanne and her sister. I can't remember her name, but to me, I wanted to take this portrait of them with the fence. This is their land of where their ancestors lived, and it was taken by ranchers, you know, 150 years ago, 120 years ago. So the fence is very symbolic to me. I don't know if this one, I think this one made it into the final exhibition. And the last picture is a photograph of Lucas Arellano practicing boxing. And interestingly, his teacher, the older man on the right, is also a Native American. So I thought it was really great to show the two of them practicing. So this is the work that we produced for the exhibition. This is what you see in the hall. And I don't know if you have any questions. You can maybe later ask anything you want to know about the production of these images. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kike. That was so nice to hear more about each photo. And if anyone has questions for Kike, please do put them in the chat. We'll have time soon. And now we're going to hear from Monica V. Arellano, the Vice Chairwoman of the Muwekma Ohlone Tribal Council. So Monica, I have two questions for you. What has made this partnership meaningful for the Muwekma Ohlone tribe? And how have these exhibitions advanced the goals of the tribe?
Thank you, Michelle. Oshituhi, Kanakraka, Monica Villarreano, Wachos Kuchos, Muwekma Ohlone Tribe, San Francisco Bay Area. Good day. I greet you today in our native Chochenyo language. My name is Monica Villarreano. I am the Vice Chairwoman, co-chair of the Muwekma Language Committee, and MLD representative for the Muwekma Ohlone Tribe of the San Francisco Bay Area. The current relationship between NUMU and the Muwekma Ohlone Tribe is actually a renewal of our partnership, which began in 1998 with the first exhibition at the Forbes Mill Museum titled Making a Living and Ceremony, Ritual and Symbols. The second exhibition at Forbes Mill was exhibited from 2009 to 2010 titled The Ohlone Past and Present. In 2015, we worked again with the NUMU staff, the San Jose State University Anthropology Department, and the tribal leadership at the new museum on an exhibition titled Back from Extinction, Prehistory, history and heritage of the Muwekma Ohlone tribe of the San Francisco Bay Area. Presently, the newly established 2022-2023 exhibitions are titled Reclamation, Resilience of the Muwekma Ohlone Tribe, and Reclamation, Aboriginal Ancestral Homeland of the Muwekma Ohlone Tribe. This includes contemporary photos of our tribal members, traditional dances, interviews, the development of an educational toolkit for teachers, an interactive map showing important traditional ancestral heritage sites, and contemporary places of public art, architecture, and environments of significance. The NUMU partnership has created a meaningful relationship by sharing the history and heritage of our tribe with the general public, school groups, and through educational processes. Regarding the second question, how have these exhibitions advanced the goals of the Muwekma Ohlone Tribal Council? The tribe has reaped positive benefits from the new exhibitions in related social media, educational tools, and the interrelations between NUMU, San Jose State University anthropology, faculty, and students, and the tribe. Even though this is our fourth collective exhibition with NUMU, the exhibition further validates and provides visibility to our tribe's history, culture, and heritage. This exhibition further reinforces our tribe's agency with the general public, which hopefully will translate into civic actions supporting the restoration of our tribe's federal acknowledgement process. People from the Tech Museum visited the Muwekma exhibitions at NUMU. The visit from the professional staff from the Tech Museum is in response to a series of proposals for possible future exhibits at that museum. The Tech Museum was established on our 2,000-year-old ancestral heritage site, CASCL 128, which we named Thamian Rumetak, meaning the Guadalupe River site in our Muwekma language in 2012. As we worked on the recovery on an ancestral woman burial, which our tribal leadership and language committee named Krokush Tiwu Koro Aitakish, Tule Elk Leg Woman, based upon a Tule elk leg bone that was placed on top of her. Most recently, we have continued recovery work at 200 and 180 Park Avenue locations, which is immediately adjacent to the Tech Museum. The Tech Museum staff made inquiries if the Muwekma tribe was interested in formulating exhibits with the museum. And after some consultation between our tribal ethnohistorian and archaeologist Abel Leventhal and myself, we made some initial suggestions, which include the following 3 themes. First, focusing on a topic for the general public, ancient and modern DNA. How are we related? What does DNA tell us about our ancestry? This theme can be synthesized down for general public consumption and can tie into school groups, genealogical projects, and family history and narratives, as well as their DNA results. Also, as a focused sub-exhibit, which can be based on the recent co-authored article that we published in the proceedings in the National Academy of Science on the ancient and modern DNA of our surviving Muwekma Ohlone tribal lineages and our relationship to our ancestral remains recovered from 2 East Bay sites dating back 2,500 years. The second proposed exhibition theme is what lies beneath the Tech Museum and the streets of San Jose. Information can be presented on the 2,000-year-old ancestral heritage of our Muwekma Ohlone tribe, as gleaned from the archaeological excavations at Thamian Rumetak, Thamian Guadalupe River site, CASCL 128, located in downtown San Jose, parallel to the east side of the Guadalupe River. This is the documented location of a 2,000-year-old ancestral settlement and cemetery. Another potential exhibit involved the technology employed by the ancestral Muwekma from silica stone tools to the Silicon Valley. Over the past 10,000 years, our ancestors were geologists and physicists that quarried and altered various lithic silica stone materials, such as the local Jurassic Age Franciscan cherts, flints, and sandstones into hunting and processing tools, which also included Monterey cherts from the Año Nuevo coastal area, metamorphic quartzite, schist, serpentine, and other volcanic lithic materials such as obsidian, andesite, rhyolite, granite, and basalts. For the Franciscan church, the toolmakers applied a form of thermal annealing by placing the stones in an earth oven. and then creating a fire that sent a thermal wave to slowly expand the stones containing microstresses, and thus, after slowly cooling, creating a nappable stone, such as a shiny glass-like luster, in order to transform the stone into sharp finished products, such as projectile points and arrowheads. Also, for example, we find cinnabar, mercury sulfide, as a bright red pigment from the New Almaden mines on artifacts found at the Scotts Valley site, CR 177, that date back 7,500 to 8,500 years ago. We also have recovered cinnabar at the recently excavated site, Situpentak, CALA 565H, over by the Sunol Water Temple in the East Bay. I believe cinnabar had also been found at the Thamian Rumetak, Thamian Guadalupe River site, CASCL 128 as well. Additionally, these exhibitions advance the goals of the Muwekma Ohlone Tribal Council by sharing about the present. This is the first time we have exhibited contemporary portraits. Typically, it's all about the past. These exhibitions are fine examples of Maki Maknomo, we are still here. The exhibitions have also opened the doorway to new partnerships, opportunities for interpretations at new centers or organizations, such as with the previously mentioned Tech Museum. We do have a planned exhibition at the new Alameda Creek Watershed Center in Sunol, next to the Water Temple, which may open in the fall of 2023. The Muwekma Ohlone exhibition was done in partnership with the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission. The SFPUC people are planning to visit and see the Muwekma exhibitions at the NUMU Museum. We are looking forward to meeting with them at NUMU and sharing these exhibitions. In the future, we are hoping these exhibitions can be shared and travel to other institutions. Exhibitions are developed for the benefit of the general public and school groups, and when they end, they're taken down. In many cases, these unique exhibits are either completely dismantled or stored. The vision of the NUMU staff had advocated that they will be transformed into traveling exhibits so that the educational value, creativity, interpretations, and the artistic value continues to be shared with other communities. Overall, the exhibitions and working with the NUMU staff, San Jose State University Anthropology Department, and photographer Kike Arnal have been very productive and positive for our Muwekma Ohlone Tribe and Tribal Council. Gishwa Shekina, thank you.
Thank you, Monica, for sharing all of that. So after all of that, what's next? And to talk a little bit more about that is NUMU's Development and Communications Coordinator, Jamie D'Onofrio.
All right, hello all. As we're talking about making exhibitions, one of the most important questions is why? And the biggest reason is, of course, for our visitors. So we take visitor feedback really seriously. Normally, we get the majority of our visitor feedback from our VSRs, the lovely ladies at the front desk, if you've ever been into the museum, chatting with people who come into the museum and sharing that information with the rest of the team. However, for the Reclamation exhibitions, we've been very lucky to work directly with SJSU anthropology grad students to make a survey for visitors to the exhibition so that we can see what people are taking from this exhibition, as well as what they want to see more of in the future. I won't go too long into this because I'm sure you've all seen more than enough bar charts, but some of this information is very exciting for us. For example, 16% of visitors surveyed had no idea that the Muwekma Ohlone tribe even existed before visiting NUMU, and 35% didn't know about their fight to reclaim federal recognition. If the mission behind Reclamation is to raise awareness, and that is part of it, this is proof we're doing just that. We also found that 94% of people felt a deeper connection to the land, and 100% of people surveyed found the exhibition engaging and informative, had an interest in a future exhibition about the Muwekma Ohlone, and left the museum with a plan to do something to support the Muwekma Ohlone tribe, whether that's signing a petition or contacting a politician. It's really powerful to see our exhibition prompt action in people. We also obviously take note of the fact that 100% of the people who did our survey want to see more exhibitions like this in the future. And we at NUMU would love to continue to work with the Muwekma Ohlone tribe and SJSU to make exhibitions. So we're really glad to see our goals align with the community's desires. You can see here some of the ideas for upcoming exhibitions and what percentage of people were interested in each. It seems like Indigenous land stewardship is a big one, so maybe keep an eye out for that. If you would like to take the survey, and we ask that you do, because we want to hear your feedback, we'll send a link in the chat now and at the end of this talk. Okay, that's enough of numbers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And as a reminder, our hours are Thursday from 3 to 8 p.m. and Friday through Sunday from 10 to 4 p.m. So you can also take that survey in person, and we'd love to hear from you. So speaking of what's next, Alexandra and I wanted to share about our educational toolkit that we have been working on in collaboration with anthropology graduate student at San Jose State University, Cesar Villanueva. And unfortunately, he couldn't be here with us this evening, but shout out to Cesar for all of his wonderful hard work. And there have been many other contributors to this whole process, as I mentioned. But the whole idea behind this toolkit is that it is a lasting piece that will serve teachers and students across the county and maybe even beyond. So Cesar has been hard at work also translating all of our content into Spanish. We will have a Spanish and English version available soon, and it will be free, a downloadable PDF. Hopefully that can help all of us reflect on the themes of this exhibition. There are discussion questions, activities, and it really just uses Kike's beautiful portraits as a starting point to really think about how we build respect, how we build empathy, and understand what is politics of erasure, how does it impact the communities that we live with, and also how do we become stewards of land and give back to Indigenous communities. So I'm very excited about this lasting piece of the exhibition. And then we also have some upcoming talks you all might be interested in. So we have a third installment of our talk series for our Reclamation exhibitions, which is on April 20th, the Muwekma Ohlone Past and Present Heritage Sites of Significance. And that talk will feature more voices from San Jose State's anthropology department. But we also have another talk on March 2nd in person at the museum, actually, which is a nice opportunity to come check out all of our exhibitions. We have another wonderful group show called Terra Firma, where the artists are reflecting on themes of land and place as well. And that is called Bay Area Backroads. So we will drop a link in the chat for you to register and learn more about those. But without further ado, we have time to answer questions. So I know you have been dropping them in the chat, so we will go through those. And I see the first one from earlier is, how did the exhibitions balance the history of the tribe and San Jose State University's involvement with bones and grave goods? So I think maybe Monica and Alan, if you have an answer for that, that would be wonderful.
Well, I'll chime in first, and Monica should join in. Back in the 80s, when we started working with the tribe, with the unbridled urban development, Bay Area wide, these cemetery sites were being encountered. And the Muwekma elders came forward and they decided to involve themselves in the decision-making over the sites, and the power brokers of the cultural resource management firms pushed back, almost to the degree where they went to the county board of supervisors and said, don't allow these people on the sites. We have proof that they're not Native American, that they're Puerto Ricans. So that we trained the tribe to work and be stewards of their ancestral heritage sites. And as they were involved, Of course, the developers were not interested in paying the Native people, nor providing them places to rebury those sites, those ancestral remains. So as a professional courtesy, the anthropology department provided space in the curation facility for the storage of their ancestral remains up until the point when they want to repatriate them and rebury them. In 1989, the tribe was successful in repatriating and reburying 550 burials from Stanford University before the Native American Graves Protection law came into effect. So anyway, the anthropology department has been a team player, and also the tribe has invited students to be engaged in a lot of these processes. Monica, you want?
Sure. I'd like to say that, our relationship with San Jose State University has been very positive. It started in the 80s, and, a large part of that was because Alan worked there. And as he mentioned, he brought in our tribe and empowered us. It gave us the opportunity to learn about our ancestors, on site. And through that work, we developed a cultural resource management firm. We're actively out there in the community monitoring, excavations that are happening. We do hire and work with San Jose students, archaeology students, who are interested in learning properly. I would only say, we've had one negative issue, and you all know what that is. I won't bring names, to this presentation, but, we dealt with that swiftly as well. We had a strong reaction to what was being done. And, our main goal is to protect our ancestors. So we did that. We voiced our concerns, and San Jose State University was very responsive and respectful to our tribe. We've been involved in, the process recently with CalNAGPRA and inventory and just being advised about what's happening there. A lot of things are changing, and they want to make sure that tribes are involved and that they're, giving advice and that they're side by side with what's happening with the ancestors. And San Jose State University has been a model for that, that we hope other universities or educational institutions can model after. So as far as, taking care of our ancestors, we feel very comfortable that they're there and they're being housed and cared for until we actually have land where we can reinter our ancestors. That's the main goal of our tribe, is to acquire land, have designated burial location for our ancestors so they're never disturbed again. They never should have been disturbed in the first place. But as I mentioned, it's our job and responsibility to take care of them respectfully and to make sure that they're housed respectfully and that they're reinterred respectfully. So that's the main goal. And I can honestly say that that's a goal of San Jose State University as well.
Thank you, Monica. We have another question that I think you'll probably be able to answer. How long has the Muwekma Garden at Stanford been active, and can you tell us more about the plants that are tended there?
Sure. This is actually a project that we have been working on for several years with Patrick Archie. He's the director of the Stanford Farm, Educational Farm at Stanford University. He proposed that he would love, many years ago, to have a garden there for the tribe, and that would be our space. We were able to design and help, suggest what we want planted, be plants that we have uses for technology like basket weaving, medicinal, foods, berries, trees. And Patrick worked with us, and we have a design out there which is really nice. It's called the Muwekma 4 Directions Garden. And it's open to the public. So if you're ever in the area, please visit it. We had the opportunity earlier last year to plant the garden, and we invited our tribal members, and everyone was able to get in, dig in the ground, plant the plants, and, it's growing slowly, but, it's a start. And we're hoping that this will be our mother garden, and it'll help, feed other gardens throughout the Bay Area, that for other institutions that want to start a native garden, we'll be able to, get the plants from this Stanford native garden and start new gardens in other areas. So it's an educational garden. It's meant to be a destination for school groups or, other people who want to learn more. So we're very pleased, and we're hoping, that there's more opportunities to build native gardens throughout the Bay Area.
Thank you. We're getting some really great questions. And I will say we are going to include some how to start your own native garden tips in our toolkit. So if you're curious to learn more, there will be info in there soon. So our next question is, how are the repatriations with NAG-PRA coordinated? Is there a database or plan for who will be buried, who will be consulted for proper procedure, etc.? So I don't know, Alan or Monica again, maybe?
This is Roberto Gonzalez speaking.
Oh, yeah, please join us. Yes.
Hi, yeah. I don't know the details on that answer, but I would be happy to refer the questioner to the university's campus NAGPRA coordinator. Her name is Charlotte Sinceri, and I believe the question was from Don Wood. Don, I will send you Dr. Sinceri's email address via chat, and feel free to contact her directly if anyone else is interested in questions regarding NAGPRA issues. Please feel free to reach out to Dr. Sinceri. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
NAGPRA, because museums deal a lot with NAGPRA too. Interestingly, NAGPRA doesn't apply to every Indigenous artifact. It's a pretty well-defined set of criteria, unfortunately. It mostly refers to remains, and religious or ceremonial objects are the objects that qualify. And so if a museum has those, they should initiate that process with their local tribe. But if they don't qualify, they don't have to. So even though NAGPRA is a great federal law, there's still a lot of loopholes to get around.
Roberto, do you want to just introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. I'm Roberto Gonzalez. I am chair of the anthropology department at San Jose State University. And along with my colleagues, Jan English-Lewick, and of course, Alan Leventhal, I've played a part in helping to coordinate this exhibit. And it's been a real pleasure to work with the NUMU staff and Monica and everyone else on this exhibit. It's been really rewarding for us. And we're just really excited to get our students involved with this as well.
Thank you. And as I mentioned, there's many more faces who have been part of an ongoing process of meeting every month for the last year to year and a half. We've all met as a team. And as Cristiano mentioned earlier, we've all collaborated on all of the text, all of the photo selections. So it's been quite a learning experience for all of us, but very rewarding. So we do have another question. Do our area schools, elementary, middle school, and high school, currently teach the history of the Muwekma Ohlone tribe and their fight for federal recognition? Are there plans to invite school board members and area school executives to educate them on this history and topic? Will this exhibition travel to schools? I love that question. Monica, do you want to speak a little bit about that, and then so can we?
Sure. It depends, I would say, on the teacher. Teachers seek out our input, when they get to that part of their curriculum on how to accurately tell the story. And we're more than happy to always, provide input and work with them. I could say, for example, my son's teacher, when he was in 4th grade and they started to talk about the missions, she was very open to hearing about what actually happened to our people. It wasn't a fairy tale story, being saved by the mission and the priests. It was actual facts of what happened to our people, how we were enslaved and, our culture and language is stripped away. And, it's by the grace of God that we survived, and live today to tell the story. But We're hoping that this educational toolkit that was developed and made by Caesar and NUMU and Muwekma, that it can be shared, with the schools around the Bay Area. It was made to address the curriculum, to hit certain parts of the curriculum. That way teachers know that they're right on point with what they're supposed to be teaching the students. 3rd, 4th, 5th grade are addressed. And I'm really happy to see this because it's the first time. And it tells them examples, what you can do. And, as far as, talking about their history and comparing it to the tribe and how it meets the curriculum. And so, Alan has been a big helper and advocate for the tribe over the years. And he and I have worked a lot, with these different educational school boards, to try to advise and offer information about the curriculum. Some have been receptive, some been a little harder to get through, but we're still working at it, and I believe this toolkit is a great resource for moving a little bit further to talk about the actual truth, California history, specifically about Muwekma and Ohlone Indians.
Yes, and not only have we developed this toolkit for teachers to specifically integrate Muwekma into their curriculum, at the museum, we also give school tours. We go out into schools and we also have school visits, and we bring them through the exhibits and they learn about the exhibits, the Muwekma, and about the tribe, and the responses have been very positive. The kids always have something that they can identify with the photos, and the teachers just love it as well. They always talk about how they wish they had more of it and how it always just wraps so well into their curriculum. So we're hitting them at both ends, in the schools and in the museum.
And we've gotten feedback from teachers that this is a need in the area, to have something that addresses having local relevant materials. So that was a big inspiration for the toolkit as well. And we will be keeping some of Kike's images on site to incorporate into our school programming even beyond the exhibition. So we're thinking of creative ways to have that be a touch point for a long time to come. Yeah.
I don't know if this came up, but we are accessioning some of Kike's photos into our permanent collection as well. So they'll have a home at NUMU forever.
Yes, we are very excited about that.
Regarding part of the reclamation, a couple of years ago, the local San Jose school district renamed the Peter Burnett Academy, the middle school, to the Muwekma Ohlone Middle School. And that helps sets the stage for giving both visibility and context. On the one hand, Burnett argued for the extermination of the red race when he was governor. And on the other hand, the community came out and they said, we don't need these kinds of icons. So what they did is they put it out to the community for various names or renaming, and the community voted to rename the school the Muwekma Ohlone Middle School, downtown San Jose.
Great. We have another question from a staff member of the South Bay Community Land Trust, and I think they ask a very wonderful question that maybe other orgs want to know, is how can they partner and help the Muwekma Ohlone? The South Bay Community Land Trust specifically works on land acquisition, and since Monica mentioned that, they want to know how they can help.
Sure, that's a wonderful question. We actually have established a Muwekma Ohlone Preservation Foundation, which is the Muwekma Land Trust. And one of the issues that we're dealing with is acquiring land. So as I mentioned before, land is much needed for burials to reinter our ancestors, but also we need land so we can build our village, in the Bay Area. We want to have a land base, a home for our tribal members. A lot of our tribal members can't afford to live in the Bay Area anymore because it's very expensive, and we want them to stay home. So one of our goals, and I know it's been a big mission of our chair, is to build a native village for our people. to have housing, to have a cultural center, to have our offices, and to have our people stay in the San Francisco Bay Area. So that's one way to help, is to help us get land back. If you visit our website, muwekma.org, as soon as you click on the site, there's other ways to help us. A prompt pops up and it says how you can write a letter, to representatives to show your support for the Muwekma Ohlone tribe for our federal recognition. And there's other ways if you'd like to donate to our, language, our arts like dancing. There's links there on our website as well. But I appreciate the question and the support. But you can also reach out directly to me afterwards if you like, and we could set up a meeting and discuss it a little further.
That's such a good question. I think a lot of new partnerships have come out of this exhibition for all of us, which is very exciting, and new doors keep opening. So I'm sure that the same would happen for anyone who decides to embark on a similar project. But we have a question. Kike, do we have a book of the photos, or perhaps any other books of your photos, or where could people find more of your work? I would extend that to, do you have any other projects you're working on at the moment that are exciting you could share?
I do have a few books, published books. This body of work is not published. It's only for the museum. It will be very nice to see something happening in the future. I don't know what, we need some luck for that. But I do have 4 books published. You can find some of those on Amazon. Actually, you can find all of them on Amazon. If you go for Kike now in photography, you will see there is one about Washington, D.C. It's called In the Shadow of Power. There are 2 books about the transgender communities, one in Argentina and one in Mexico. And the last book is about the Danza de Voladores, which is a dance ritual in the Sierra de Puebla. You saw a couple of features of those. You can find all those books online. I think the Voladores book is quite difficult to get because it's out of print. Thanks for the interest.
I just thought of a question, maybe a final question, but for Amy, our wonderful executive director, I just wanted to say or ask if you could share maybe some reflections on your thoughts on kind of the direction NUMU is heading and how this project has opened up doors. What's kind of next big picture vision? Yeah.
Wow, what a great question, Michelle. Cristiano touched a lot on that earlier in terms of how we want to continue being a platform for our various community members, and to not position ourselves as necessarily the voice of authority, but that we're a conduit for these important topics and conversations. And we're very excited to, we've started those initial conversations of our monthly meetings, talking about, okay, what's in the future? And Jamie has all that great data on what our audience is hungry for. And so that gives us a lot of food for thought. But, we're very excited to, keep working co-creatively and collaboratively with community partners, and just all of your wonderful questions and comments in the chat just further emphasize that there's a real need for this topic to be elevated, amplified in our region. And so we are so excited to continue working with our academic partners and with the Muwekma Ohlone tribe to continue evolving the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If any of our speakers have any final thoughts, the floor is, of course, yours.
I actually like to invite everyone to the Los Altos History Museum. They're going to be unveiling their exhibition on February 11th, and they've invited the Muwekma Ohlone tribe. We have an exhibition there as well to dance and to offer a land acknowledgement. So you're all welcome to attend that. That's at 11. And this Saturday, our chairwoman, Charlene Nishmet, she's going to be participating in a TED Talk at UC Berkeley. So you can look on our social media. There'll be links there. It'll be streamed. Or if you'd like to attend in person. So if you're able to, follow us on our social media and we'll have more information about these upcoming events. I'd just like to put that invitation out there. Thank you.
Also,
Oh,
there. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, lastly, the Mexica New Year. We're going to be co-hosting the California Indian Native Nights, and that's going to be on Friday, March 10th. I believe it starts at 5, and we're inviting other California dance groups to come in, and hopefully we'll have bear dancers as well. So you're all invited to attend that as well. We'll be posting more information about that. Thank you.
And then there are 2 PBS style films on the tribe. One that was done in 1995 by a San Jose State sociologist titled Back from Extinction. It's online via YouTube. And the other one is a newly released film called Time Has Many Voices, about the tribe's involvement with their ancestral heritage site over by the Sunol Water Temple. And then the tribe's publications are also available on academia.edu, which people have been reading from all over the world about the tribe's history and heritage and their stewardship over their ancestral heritage sites.
Thank you. Thank you everyone who came this evening. This is one of our largest audiences we've had for a virtual program, which is really exciting for us. It just further shows us that this is such relevant material, and it was so wonderful to have you with us, and thank you for your questions. We also have upcoming programs at NUMU, so be sure to sign up for our newsletter. Come check us out in person. We have many more in-person events and receptions, so stay tuned for that this year as well. This is being recorded, and the recording will be available on our YouTube channel, so you can share it with anyone who might have not been able to make it this evening. But yeah, thank you so much. And if you have further questions, our emails can be found on our website. We're happy to answer those. So have a wonderful evening, and we hope to see you at NUMU soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, panelists.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.